Well, good morning, Fairfield. Good to see you all. My name's Don. Welcome, Zoomies, Zoomites, people in the back. We're going to begin today with a hymn. Come Thou Almighty King. It's on page 7 of the Worship and Songbook. And here's our leader. Seven. Thank you, dear.
Welcome.
That's a rousing, good song. I have a little centering thought and a sort of a quiet reflection I suppose we'll do following. When I was a boy, 11 years old, I actually had been in scouting for a little bit, but I went to Boy Scouts. And every Monday night, with our troop, I took the scout oath. And the scout law was to be obeyed. And the 12th part of the scout law is to be reverent. And I'm sure at 11, I wasn't really sure what that was. And at 82, I'm still not quite sure. I work at it, and sometimes I don't think I'm there. But I ran across good old Google and AI, and it tells me that this is when a scout says they are reverent, it means they are faithful in their religious duties and show deep respect for God and honor the spiritual beliefs of others, fostering an attitude of awe and gratitude for life's wonders. It was that last part that really well, the whole thing is good. Very simple. To be reverent is to show respect. And sometimes that's missing. But one of the things that shows respect for is life's wonders. The other night, or the other evening, right at sunset, Lynn and I were coming on 144 headed towards Mooresville, and the sun was setting. And it was a big orange globe. I don't know, I've never seen it quite like that. I hope you got to see it. It was amazing. And I looked at that, and Lynn said, you know, all life is from the sun. And I thought, I could worship the sun in that respect. I could be reverent towards it. It's amazing what is out there. To see nature I listened on the way home yesterday morning when I was coming back from southern Indiana. I was listening to NPR, and they were interviewing Harrison Ford. So did anybody see that by chance? Or hear it? You didn't see it. Harrison Ford is I felt like he's my age, and he's accomplished a great deal. And he had such an interesting interview. And one of the things that was I took from it was his. I don't know if he's a Boy Scout or not, but he had an awe of nature and the wonder of nature. And this is a good month for me to have awe of nature. Last night, waking up to that rain was terrific. The weather changing and the coolness, and I love September. I ran across a little poem about September and the awe that I'd like to share with you. It's called September Skies. And it has a lesson, I suppose, that you pick up from your wondering about things. As the sun's journey from horizon to horizon quickens and the days shorten, September skies host shifting swirls of starlings, leaderless sways of syncopation, a recruiting, whirling dance enticing their winged brethren to join, a prelude frolic for their annual autumn migratory journey. Humankind pronounces their scruffy appearance unappealing, but oh, what a miraculous, splendid packages they are, garbed with feathers that endure to the next season's molt, with instincts guiding them on their imprinted venture to habitats and feeding fields more promising than those that they depart. Genes of countless preceding generations their guide. Evening roostings resting raucously in suburbia trees, gathering at first light evenly spaced on the power lines. I wish I could understand their friendly, excited chatterings. Perhaps they would bid me by startling example to adapt and exist peacefully together, living free and joyfully and doing no harm. We'll now have our community sharing with announcements, and then follow that in a minute with joys and concerns. But we'll begin with announcements, and we'll begin with our friends in Zoom. Do we have any announcements from our friends in Zoom? I see a hand waving.
Hi, this is Teresa. I just want to thank everyone who pitched in. We have made our preparations to supply food for the Family Promise Shelter for the whole week, as well as stocking the resource center. So thanks to everyone for chipping in.
Any other announcements from our friends on Zoom? Is my friend I met yesterday, Mike, on Zoom? He thought he might be able to come up. I bought a bike from a guy down by Franklin. By the way, welcome to the Hoots from Franklin. And I bought a bike, and I ended up talking Quakerism. You never how things go. Anyway, he'll be here sometime. Any other announcements from Zoom? Well, we have announcements from the meeting room. Yes.
Hi, this is Amy Tharp. I wanted to let you know that I've been helping a friend clear out her in-laws' home, and they have a refrigerator that they're willing to donate to anyone who can pick it up. It's a 5-year-old LG French door, bottom freezer, refrigerator in good working order. It looks great. And we couldn't take it, but I was wondering if anybody else could use it. And if so, contact me and I can put them in contact with her and her family.
Thank you. Anita.
Yeah. Anita Kamek, just a reminder that we will have our meeting for business today, shortly after the rise of worship, right around noon, and it will be here. Thank you.
Hi, Josiah Hostetler here on behalf of Peace and Social Justice. I have 3 announcements today, so please stick with me. The first is Jewish Voices for Peace of Indiana has invited us to a tashlich, which is the start of Rosh Hashanah for Jewish New Year. It's calling out for justice for Gaza, and instead of placing bread or paper in the canal, we'll be placing leaves. So that's today at 6 p.m. at the Canal Basin off 11th Street. And I have the address here if you're interested. The second announcement is 15th Street Meeting House from New York City is offering a session from 1 to 4 next Sunday, September 28th, on sanctuary, immigration, and refuge, how One Meeting House is really responding to that query that will be read today during meeting for business. I'll make sure that this gets sent out to the meeting via email. And the third reminder is the fall hike that we'll have on October 11th, Saturday, at Eagle Creek Park at the Peace Learning Center. So if you give me your email, I'll send out the entrance pass to you via email, or I'll also have paper copies here the week before.
Thanks, Josiah.
Mary Dooley. Just a reminder that we are approaching the autumnal equinox. It's tomorrow. And today is Sun Day. People are celebrating the approach of the equinox, and Earth Charter is drawing attention to our attention to the sun and solar power and its potential for rejuvenating our use of energy. One little addition. Tomorrow, Saturn reaches opposition to the Earth, and it's going to be the brightest that it's been in eons. So if we have clear skies, you'll be able to see it with your own eyeballs. If you have a telescope, you'll be able to see something much better.
Mary, when I was looking about my centering thought, you came to mind very much because of your wonders and appreciation of the wonders, especially the butterflies, which are returning. And I have yet to see a whooping crane, but
Shoot. Well, peak is 2 a.m. and look southeast.
I won't be doing that.
It will be relatively low on the horizon, about a third up of the sky.
You take a picture of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with my little iPhone. Right?
Thanks, Mary.
Oh God, we hold in the light those who suffer injury, either intentionally or accidentally. And we celebrate, oh God, those who come to their side and stand beside them, who face the ugliness of life with a faithful concern for their well-being. We thank you, O God, for those who serve children. Who celebrate not only the beautiful moments of life, but also make themselves present for its ugliest moments also. We thank you, O God, for their courage, for their faithfulness, for their healing touch. For those who suffer, we hold in the light. For those who heal, we give our thanks. O God, this day and always, amen. Well, twins, our daughter-in-law, Kelsey, phoned us on Thursday to tell us her contractions had started, and I tell you what, everything just fell into place. Less planning went into the Normandy invasion than went into this delivery. Here was the plan. Our daughter-in-law would phone us when her contractions began. If Joanne were not home, she would immediately come home, pick up her suitcase, which she had packed a month ago, and drive straight south for 4 hours and 15 minutes to assume care of our 3-year-old grandson, and then Sam would drive Kelsey to the hospital 5 miles from their home. Meetings had been held about this, and practice runs made. Maps had been procured, routes planned, cars were tuned up and topped off with gas. So when Kelsey phoned, Joanne sprung into action, left school, came by the house to get her suitcase, and off she went. 5 minutes after her arrival, Sam and Kelsey were on their way to the hospital, and 3 hours later, out came Lewis, Alan, and Amelia, Joanne. I continue to marvel at the competence of the average woman. Had this venture depended upon me, I would have stopped to eat 3 times on the way to Fort Campbell, insisted on a nap upon my arrival, and urged them to wait until the next day so I could have a good night's rest. Instead, they got Joanne, who climbed from the car, a fire truck book in hand, read a story to Miles, gave him a bath, and put him to bed an hour after her arrival. That is a woman for you. Now, I'm not new to this. My mother was cut from the same efficient and capable cloth as Joanne and Kelsey. I went by Mom's grave yesterday to tell her she had 2 new grandchildren. I go down there about once a week, just ride my bicycle over to Mom's grave. I said, "Good news, you have 2 new great-grandchildren?" And then I said, "It's not all been good this week. It's been kind of a rough week." And I told her about the shooting death of Charlie Kirk. Mom always liked keeping up with current events. A friend of mine once asked me if I missed talking with my mother, and I told him I'd never stop talking with her. She passed away in 2017, and I've talked with her at least once a week ever since. Now, to be honest, she doesn't talk back. But sometimes, and I'm sure you know this feeling, there are memories that are so deep and strong and real, it sometimes feels as if she is talking back. My mother had little interest in organized religion, but was nevertheless a very spiritually curious person. She wasn't one to quote the Bible, but she did have her favorite sayings, which she attributed to the Bible, even those which weren't in the Bible. she would say, as it says in the Bible, the nut doesn't fall far from the tree. I once made the mistake of pointing out that that saying wasn't in the Bible, but I learned never to do that again. One of her favorite sayings from the Bible, from the book of Numbers: your sin will find you out. Your sin will find you out. She said this to me more than any of the other siblings. Philip, your sin will find you out. I always found it odd to hear my mother talk about sin, because she seldom did except when quoting the book of Numbers. Don't think you can behave poorly and keep it a secret. Truth will out. She also said, by their fruits ye shall know them, which is also from the Bible, the book of Matthew, chapter 7. Jesus warns his disciples, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. By this, Jesus meant that we can judge our leaders by the visible outcomes of their actions and character. We will know them by their fruits. That's what my mother said, or what her memory told me after I told her about Charlie Kirk. I told her how confusing it was to me, because some people thought he was mean-spirited, and other people I know thought he was a saint, a modern-day Jesus. And how could one know for sure what he was? And she said, we are known by our fruits. Our sin will find us out. That helped a little. I was hoping for a more definitive response, but my mother was never one to do my heavy lifting for me. She would just give me a quote, and I would have to figure out what she meant by it, which is what she did yesterday when that memory was summoned. I didn't want to argue with her. We haven't had a disagreement since 2017, and I want to keep it that way. But I think we can all agree it's been a very anxious time in our nation since the murder of Mr. Kirk. Lines are being drawn, freedoms curtailed, careers ended, speech prohibited and punished. A teacher in my hometown was forced to resign for quoting from the Apostle Paul's letter to the church at Galatia. A man reaps what he sows. A small but vocal number of citizens, many of whom want the Bible taught in our schools, demanded the termination of a teacher who quoted it. What a curious time we live in. Your sin will find you out. By their fruits you shall know them. A man reaps what he sows. Now, I'm not saying these things. I'm just reporting to you what my mother used to say. Some people quote Shakespeare, others quote Buddha, Solomon, Jesus, Mohammed. I quote my mother. But those things are all true, and it is true that we humans have a habit of elevating certain people only to have time reassess them. Things have a way of finding their right level. In time, some are promoted, others are demoted. I had a family member who, when he was alive, everyone would say what a wonderful man he was. A pillar in the Baptist church, an exemplary citizen. And then he died, and it came out that he had molested his daughters. Some get demoted. And sometimes people we don't appreciate or think especially wise turn out, in retrospect, to have been especially gifted and insightful. We just didn't want to hear it when they were saying it. But the truth will out. The truth will out. By their fruits, we shall know them. Man came up to me this past week. He said, I bet you're happy Charlie Kirk is dead. I said, you'd be mistaken. I'm not at all happy. Violence disgusts me. And then he said, you watch and see. History will say he was one of the greatest men in American life. I didn't argue with him. I just quoted my mother. Time will tell. The truth will out. By his fruits we shall know him. The longer I live, the more I quote my mother. I would be remiss in my pastoral duties if I didn't remind you that these great truths apply not only to Charlie Kirk, but also to you and me. By our fruits we too shall be known. Time will tell. Truth will out. We do indeed reap what we sow. That same man told me that he took comfort in the fact that Charlie Kirk was now in the bosom of Jesus up in heaven. Another person told me he was finally getting what he deserved down in hell. They both asked me what I thought. I said, I've given up trying to figure out what happens to us after we die. I used to speak with a lot of confidence about that, and I don't anymore. I don't know if we just fade into nothingness or ascend to some glorious heights. I just do not know. I don't know even if God judges us. I don't know. But I know time and history judge us. And I know time and history cannot ultimately be fooled, though they can be temporarily misled. But the truth will out. Time will tell. By our fruits we shall be known.
We're going to need somebody to help collect the food while we sing this last hymn. So, strong and able. There's the baskets. The last hymn is one of my favorites, actually. I tend to, I don't know about you, sometimes you get a hymn on Sunday, you're still singing it on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And this is one that do that. This is was written, the words were written by Tommy Dorsey, did Tommy play the Was he the saxophone guy or was he the trombone guy? He was the trombone. Anyway, this isn't that Tommy Dorsey, but he's known as the father of gospel. It's 178, Precious Lord, Take My Hand, in our Green Book. Take her away.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, help me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on. When my way grows drear, precious Lord, linger near. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call, hold my hand lest I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me
So nice, I hesitate to rise above it. So we'll let that serve as our benediction. Precious Lord, take our hands, lead us home. Turn and greet friends.